Hi, everyone, and welcome in. We are off and running, ready to have a little fun. Something that we're going to hopefully start doing here on a daily basis as we welcome you into our Lennox on Baseball live stream chat. And, did something Friday with September 11 and a little reflecting and start today off almost the same way because I've been looking forward to doing this. I set it up 4 o'clock Eastern today, wanted to do it, and I title it Sugar's Random Thoughts. And when I used to do a blog, and perhaps in the future doing it, I would put that at the end of just not a column, but a blog entry. And I'll perhaps do that again, but I get to do it here. This week on our live stream with our conversations where baseball stories are shared, Tuesday, looking forward to welcoming in Gabe Gross, now at Auburn, as one of their coaches, and my first partner on my first ever ESPNU SEC broadcast weekend, college baseball a handful of years ago. Gabe and I did a series. We did Saturday, Sunday for Vanderbilt and Missouri, out in Columbia, Missouri. So Gabe is going to join us tomorrow, talk a little Auburn baseball, talk a little college baseball, and talk about his great playing career as well, not only in Auburn, but in the big leagues too. Gabe Gross joins us on Tuesday. Michael Lynch, teamheads.com, will join us on Wednesday, talk about his Negro League database that he has constructed over the years. It's really impressive, and the teamheads.com website as well. Michael is a friend from baseball, but somebody who I've actually never met, which is interesting because you can do that in the game of baseball. That's what it avails us to on occasion. So Michael will join us on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I read something this past weekend about, it wasn't a good thing. It was about a shooting incident, and we've been reading about those all over our country. But this weekend, somewhere outside the Kansas City sports complex where Arrowhead Stadium and Kauffman Stadium are both. And Kyle Denny, when he was a Cleveland Indians organization and at the big league level years ago, there was actually a shooting from the highway, and shots went into the Cleveland Indians bus, and Kyle was actually struck. I always remember Kyle from his time in the Carolina League when he was with the Kinston Indians. Was a starting pitcher one night at Frawley Stadium in Wilmington and struck out the side in the first inning. You're like, wow, this guy's on his way to a great night. He didn't come out for the second inning. Turned out he actually tore the ulnar collateral ligament and ended up having Tommy John surgery. So through another friend, Robert Portnoy, longtime minor league announcer, connected with Kyle first thing this morning. We're going to talk to him on Thursday. So those are 3 of our interviews lined up this week for the Lennox on Livestream podcast. But as I was coming on today, just some random thoughts to share. And again, hope to do this almost on a daily basis. But worked yesterday in Bristol in an update shift on ESPN radio, and it was all football, of course. But all of a sudden, it was football, and a couple college football things from Saturday, and trying to get in the men's U.S. Open final from Flushing Meadows in the end of a minute 38 content. That's all they give us. That's all we're allowed, and I try not to do too much damage there. But paying attention all of a sudden to the baseball and Alec Mills, and we'll get on that and the no-hitter in a few moments here. But Alec Mills, that became a storyline, so I led with it for a couple of updates. And then all of a sudden I see a tweet about Albert Pujols hitting his 660th big league home run, tying him with Willie Mays on the all-time home run list at 660. And 660 has always been a number that has been attributed to Willie Mays. But unbelievable in the sense, and I'm hitting my phone here because I'm going to bring this up because 3 minutes before I was going to go live here, Don Wardlow, I'm dropping names here left and right, but Don Wardlow holds a special place in my heart. Again, another gentleman from the game of baseball that I've never met, but I consider him a friend. And how I connected with Don, he actually reached out to me. It was in 2000. I'm going to share his thoughts. And I just found this. He put it on his blog. I'll share it on my Lennox on Baseball Facebook page, via Twitter at Lennox on Baseball as well. So you can take a look at it if you want. Hopefully I piqued your curiosity. But Don in 2000, it was the Staten Island Yankees and Mahoning Valley Scrappers. Game 2 finished up the night before. and Mahoning Valley, Henry Pichardo, all of about 5'9", 100 and something. I mean, when his bio listed him at like 5'9", 140 pounds, and guess what? It was the most accurate height and weight in the minor league section of a Major League Baseball media guide ever. So this guy hits a home run in the bottom. I don't know if the game went extras. I'd have to go back and try to find my scorebook. But this guy hits a home run, a walk-off home run. Series is 1-1. Now game 3 is the next day or next night. I'm in the hotel room. It's another one of those getaways that I talked about on Friday with remembering back to 9/11/2001. So after the game's over, the team is either going to celebrate or be miserable. They're going to get on the bus. I was going back to Staten Island from Niles, Ohio, in a car to sort of get stuff ready at the hotel for the team for the next morning, and then get guys out and let them begin their offseason, whether they were going to airports or just taking off on their own, helping set up those accommodations with Jeff Dumas and Jane Rogers. There's a couple more names for you. Ding, ding, ding. We're going to have a counter here. But the day in the hotel room before game 3, Don Wardlow called the hotel in Niles, Ohio. Only can imagine that he used the Baseball America directory to find the number of the team hotel out there in Niles, Ohio. It was a hotel that, the ballpark was actually in the back of a mall, but the hotel was actually within walking distance of the ballpark. So Don called me up and introduced himself, and I knew him because he'd worked in Charleston, South Carolina with, I think, the River Dogs in the South Atlantic League. And Don, the first and I think the only blind baseball analyst in the history of minor league baseball. Charleston team was one of the Vec family franchises, and he called me up and just, was very complimentary of the game that he listened to the night before on the internet. So that's how I know Don Wardlow. So getting back to Albert Pujols and hitting a milestone. You look at his career, and John Feinstein, another name, sent out a tweet today about, he doesn't believe Bonds and A-Rod are in the top 5. So he takes them out as Aaron Ruth. And then you have Pujols and Willie Mays tied for 3rd all time. But, Pujols has never necessarily been linked to performance-enhancing drugs, but he did play during that era. And I always maintain, and maybe it's a topic of conversation one day, steroids didn't start with baseball coming back after the work stoppage and the cancellation of the World Series. Steroids and performance-enhancing drugs were in baseball long before the 1990s. I've maintained that for a long time, and we can talk that discussion at some other time. But Don, just before I came on, I saw this on his Facebook page, and he shared it with a baseball book, Baseball as I See It, commentary by baseball's first blind broadcaster, Don Wardlow. After 140 years, still the greatest game. Agree with that, Don. This is baseball's fault. Pujols ties Mays with 660, and nobody notices. And that's what I saw yesterday. That's what I felt yesterday. All the football, everything going on with football, and nobody was going to touch this. Sports radio is different than it was even 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago. Years ago, I hosted, a fill-in basis in New York on ESPN Radio New York. And Alan Hahn was leaving the studio, and he said, "Hey, good luck, guys." And I forget who I was working with that day, but hey, just mention Carmelo Anthony, and that's all you need to do. You'll get the phone lines, you'll get reaction, things like that. Baseball, Mets, Yankees, didn't matter. And it wasn't something I was going to bring up on the air, even though I would have wanted to, because it wasn't going to generate any type of conversation. And it would have almost been forced between me and my co-host. But Don does a great job. Again, I'll share this on my Lennox on Baseball Twitter and Facebook page later on today if you want to take a look at it, or you can simply go to Google and be Google smart just like me and find Don's piece. But nobody yesterday talking about that. Pujols at Colorado, Coors Field. Nobody in the stands, of course, and we understand that. But you just wonder, will fans come back? I just mentioned the mid-1990s. Would fans come back? Well, they did come back. They came back slowly but surely in a home run race, and Sosa and McGuire and then Bonds and, chasing the numbers, chasing Maris, chasing, Henry Aaron, all those different, people came back to the ballparks because they wanted to be there for it. I think across the world of sports in 2021, we're going to wonder, are people going to come back to, filled up stadiums, arenas for baseball, for football, for all sports, basketball? It's something that we can think about. So again, I thought that was pretty interesting. Alec Mills yesterday, and this was another one. I was football, 12 monitors on, 9 early games starting at 1 o'clock, just after 1 o'clock, 3 in the 4 o'clock hour Eastern time yesterday with the first Sunday in the NFL season. All of a sudden, anything Alec Mills has a no-hitter. And if you go back to our archives now with all the interviews that we've had, I remember talking with Mark Simon a while back, and at MLB.com, 2011, when I voiced the highlight packages for MLB Advanced Media, the whole room would sort of celebrate after that first potential, or the last, I should say, that last potential no-hit bid was ended in the night. If there were 15 games on the schedule, people would go over, okay, there's 1 down, there's 2 down. Nobody wanted to do that extra work and go deep into the night. Yes, we were there. We love baseball, but when you add that on, there's a lot more that you put into it in terms of video, in terms of different packages and stuff like that. So Alec Mills yesterday, the 16th no-hitter in Cubs history. And here's a guy that started with the Royals in his pro career, now with the Cubs organization. There's been a lot written about him today. Walk-on at UT Martin, and a no-hitter, the 16th, as I mentioned, in Cubs history. It was fun to watch the 9th inning. It was not on the MLB network, which was interesting. They didn't cut in from their game. I think it was the Marlins game that they had on. They didn't cut into it. But he worked a 1-2-3 bottom of the 9th inning, and it was one of those, and he even touched on it. They're facing a position player on the mound in the top of the 9th inning. All he wanted to do was get out there. He had the runs. He had the run support. There was no way he was going to lose this game. The only thing he could do in the bottom of the 9th inning was lose the no-hitter, walk 3, struck out 5. He just wanted to get back out there. They got a couple more runs for him in the top of the 9th inning, touched on the fact that, the heart rate, the heart was pounding through the jersey, and he had to, take his time, take a lot of breaths and get ready for that. The interesting one, not only the 16th in franchise history, the second this year, both from Chicago pitchers back in August, Lucas Giolito of the White Sox through the no-hitter, his first at the major league level. And the night he did it, I tweeted out, for Mills, who knows? For Giolito, I think at some point we'll see his second. I could see him throwing. He's got that kind of stuff. I could see Lucas Giolito having 2, let's say multiple, 2-3 no-hitters at the big league level during the course of his career. But the one thing that caught my eye was the fact that, and I love the no-hitter and perfect game notes. I've compiled a lot of those over the years, the useless information. And David Ross, of course, the manager of the Cubs, he was the catcher for the last Cubs no-hitter by Jake Arrieta. And I wrote it down here, the 11th to catch and manage a no-hitter in big league history. I thought that was pretty interesting. Reading over the weekend, Steve Cohen is coming closer and closer to finalizing his purchase, or at least having the agreement down, signatures on the contracts and all of that stuff with the Wilpon family to purchase the New York Mets later on this year. I think it's in November, and the GM meetings have been canceled. It's going to be interesting to see what the winter meetings are in Dallas this year for December, whether they're pushed back into the new year or if they're canceled altogether. A lot going on with baseball and the winter meetings. Maybe they don't happen this year. But Steve Cohen is close to becoming the new owner of the New York Mets. Football yesterday, and all I can ask right now of the new Mets owner, what you do with the Mets right now is, to me, on the back burner. Can you reach deep into your pockets possibly and also double up? You're going to make the purchase of the Mets. Go across the river to MetLife Stadium and buy the Jets from the Johnson family. Could you do that, Mr. Cohen, please? Imploring you right now. Go across the river. Make them an offer they can't refuse, and own 2 sports franchises in 2 separate leagues. I'd like that a lot. So finalize the Mets deal and go across the river. A-Rod, J-Lo, if Mr. Cohen doesn't want to do it, feel free. Throw that money around. Go buy the Jets. And we'll stop with that. Gabe Gross again tomorrow on our Lennox on Baseball live stream podcast where baseball stories are shared. Michael Lynch, teamheads.com. coming up with us on Wednesday. And then former big league pitcher Kyle Denny will join us on Thursday as well. And then we're working on Friday's guest. We will continue doing this, try to build this up daily, where I just talk, you listen. And I will throw this out there because, of course, I forgot in the beginning. There's actually a comments page here with StreamYard, which is what we use to do these with our interviews and now with our random thoughts as well. So if you are watching this live and you just want to type out and send a note to us to say, hey, it's so-and-so from so-and-so, and we know each other from this, and you want me to shut up and I'll end the show, we can do that. But if you want to kind of go back and forth, there is a comments if we're live, and you can join the conversation, something I want to start doing more and more of, especially with our guests as well, and as I build this up. Lennox on Baseball live stream continues. Gabe Gross, former first-round pick in the major leagues, also played at Auburn, now a coach at Auburn. We'll talk about Gabe's career, what he's doing with the Tigers, what the Tigers are doing now as college teams are going to try to have some normalcy when it comes to the fall ball season. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. As always, we absolutely 100% appreciate your support.